Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. In this video I will discuss two ideas, two topics, two conclusions that I reached, and they are based on facts, on evidence, historical facts, one of which we are living right now. The first one is a parallel between, I would say, the betrayal of the Eastern Europe by the West by giving Eastern Europe to the criminal Soviet Union, communist Soviet Union, after they fought for Eastern Europe's, for Poland's freedom by fighting the Germans. That's the first betrayal. And I see that parallelism between that and what's going on right now in Ukraine. The same thing. Ukraine is going to become a servant, I don't want to use the other S word. Either way, if the West, let's say, wins and pushes the Russians back, it's going to be a colony, it's going to be a vassal of the West. That's not independence. If the West wins, which the evidence on the territory indicates, then it's going to be a division between the Russians and the Americans. Still, it's going to be a servant. That's the first idea I'm going to discuss in this video. And I have here a little article that really Sputnik puts it in very nice words. And the other one is this. It's more like a rhetorical question, or maybe I'm going to ask you, have you noticed that the moral indignation and moral wars occurred more lately than in the past? I don't remember, for instance, maybe there were some instances when you had some people believing certain things. A country or a government from a country pointing out to another government, saying, you're morally defective, therefore we have to intervene and fix your morality. This is what I think has been happening at least until the First World War, when you have consistently one or two countries pointing out to everybody else how they are lacking something. Human rights in that, this kind of rights, those kind of liberties. But in the past, it was not, King George telling King Louis, hey, or Louis, I don't think you give enough rights to the peasants out there. Therefore, we will intervene and will take over and free your peasants. This is something that, yes, it happened in the past when you had crazies thinking that, oh, I'm this kind of guy and you're that kind of guy, and my God tells me that I should give you something that you don't give. That's a different story. But lately is, oh, Iran is doing this, is not respecting the human rights, the women's rights. Or, oh, you have North Korea is not, we should do something about it. Have you heard this before? I mean, were there Romans doing that and saying, we need to take over, Germania because the Germanic tribes do not respect their women's rights? Or maybe when they fight naked? Or did you think they went to, let's say, to Palestine, as they call it, right? To go over there and spread their Roman law? No, they went over there to plunder. You are going to be my subject, and if I'm good enough, maybe you become a a province. And in province, you can be Roman citizens, second class. All right, let's start with, have you thought about this? It's moral right now. You attack countries based on morality more than, hey, what do I have to do with you? I either plunder you or leave you alone. No, now I'm going to punch you and plunder you under the pretext that, you don't respect this kind of freedoms and whatever values I say I have. All right, let's start with the first topic. This comes from Sputnik, and it is from 1 hour ago, today on the 21st of March 2025. Ukraine for sale. When fighting for freedom, quote unquote, means giving everything to the West. Remember, let's start with history with the Second World War. This is the parallel I want to draw, and I think it's clear. Why did Great Britain and France declare war on Germany? Because these two countries guaranteed Poland's sovereignty and independence if they're attacked by the Germans only, not by the Soviets. Why is that? Well, I'm not going to go into that right now. So when the Germans invaded, they were warned by the Brits to get off, ultimatum, The French were a little bit more, maybe we should wait. And the Brits, said, okay, we're going to get in. And we declare war. So all the Brits, all the French that declared war, and they fought for the freedom of Poland. Freedom, independence. Because the other guys got in and they would occupy it. They didn't declare war on the Soviet Union, who did exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing. All right. So then, all right, they eventually, the Wehrmacht was destroyed, Luftwaffe was gone, SS was dismantled, the Gestapo did not exist, the guy shot himself. Okay, we won. Now what? The good people of the West met with the good people of Stalin, and they carved Europe and said, okay, these countries will be yours. Now you know what happened in Eastern Europe, where we were given by the good West to these guys. So Poland became part of the Soviet sphere of influence, which was obviously under occupation. Under occupation. So you take it from those guys, you give it to these guys. So either way, all the people who died in the Second World War to fight for Polish freedom died in vain. That's the first point. Now, in Ukraine, you did what you did in Ukraine. You used the Ukrainians to fight the Russians. Now you are losing and you drop them, but you don't drop them like you did before. You want something too. And what are you going to do? You ask for their minerals. You want to be in control of their power plants, their energy. You want to be in control of that country. So what does that mean? That the Ukrainians, after they were pushed by the guys in charge of them, which I think they're traitors by my definition, pushed to fight the Russians. Now the Russians took, what, a tenth of their country? Or more than a tenth of a country? The Donbass and the Crimea, and that's not going to be it. And the other guys want to enter and take the rest, the resources. So you tell me what's going on over here? It's the same thing, my friends, the same thing. And unfortunately, lives were destroyed and countries were destroyed. Ukraine will not, as of now, I don't see Ukraine in a foreseeable future being a independent sovereign country that we wanted. Fighting for freedom means giving everything to the West. I think that it's a very, very nice summary of what's going on over there. It was never about freedom. It was about grabbing Russians' resources and destroy Russia. It is too strong. Cannot be. These guys determined. Now let's go to the second topic. How come that before it was not as I said, King George or whomever, Queen Elizabeth -25 would say, we're going to go in Normandy and we're going to go over there and we're going to conquer France. Because, those French, aristocrats, they have those peasants and no, we're going to enter there. Then you say, the French, we need to do, hey, I'm going to, how do you call it, virtue signaling. I'm better than you, I have to protect that, I have to go and spread democracy, or I spread this. Yeah, they spread the cross, whatever they had denomination, which was, what I mean. But is this thing like, United States of America doesn't like how Zimbabwe doesn't respect the whatever freedoms. Or, oh my God, United States of America wiggles his finger about Iran or North Korea. Now, I don't am for those guys, but that's their business. Who are you to tell them that? Oh, you know what? Besides, we're taught that about the cultural relativism, which is all the cultures, you can't put value on them. They're all the same, but different. You know what I mean? Equal, but different, but you know what? Equal, but different, All right. So the same here. Equal, but whatever. What's going on here? You stay there, instead of just saying, I need your resources. It's based on this lately. The wars right now are not saying, you know what, it's about resources. No. It's because, those evil guys are not respecting that and we have to do this. It's a moral war. Now you can say, well, everything goes to morality because you see, it's good or it's evil. But are you good? Yeah. Why? I identify as good. And we have this kind of mentality, but you can do it. Why? You're strong. So morality is not morality, it's based on strength. So your might is right. That's exactly what's going on over here. And Ukraine got again, by whom? By the guys who helped them jump at the Russians ankle. Not throat, I was about to say throat, they didn't get that way, to the ankle. And now they get kicked by the other ones. The guys are making deals over them. And they consider themselves good. And all of a sudden, the Russians are good. The Russians did not change anything. Nothing. But still they're good. They want to discuss and we're going to negotiate. The same thing with Stalin. The Soviets were bad, but all of a sudden they were good. And then at the end, they carved spheres of influence. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.